Hi everyone. Good morning and afternoon and evening. Welcome to listen to my mini methodological literature review. So, I've noticed that in recent years, TikTok has become increasingly popular. Almost everyone around me knows about it, especially young people. Many of them use this social media platform. As for myself, I've been using TikTok for almost 7 years. I'm a big fan of that. But TikTok hasn't only brought me fun from watching videos. Sometimes I also feel troubled by it. For example, I often find it hard to stop scrolling and it takes up a lot of my time, making me feel like I'm wasting my day. So I decided to focus my research question on this issue. How has TikTok use impacted the mental health of young people in the UK since 2020? Here is my data search process. Google Scholar is the only database I used. And at first, I input some keywords like social media's impact on mental health. I got a lot of results, and I only chose literature focusing on young people and having TikTok aspects. And in the UK context since 2020, also they should have a clear methodological process. Finally, I only got three that fit in my aims. They are the first one, the role of TikTok in students' health and well-being, wrote by Ransome and Talbot. Second one, adolescent social media user types and their mental health and well-being, wrote by Winston. And The Beauty and the Beast of Social Media, wrote by Kellis Grossleash and Lemmy. Let's firstly look at the first article, the Ranston and Talbot 2024. The topic is the role of TikTok on students' health and well-being. The contextual study is UK and they are college students. It is a journal article. For participants, there are 7 college students, 6 females, 1 non-binary. All white British. Mean age is 20.57, and the paradigm is interpretivism. It is a qualitative research. For method of data collection, they only used a semi-structured interview. So, using a purposive sampling method, individuals were one participant was recruited via social media, and 6 participants were via Sona, which is a research participation platform where students could register to take part in studies in exchange for credits. And participants were asked a series of questions pertaining to their experiences on TikTok. For example, have you come across mental health content on TikTok? If yes, please tell me about that. And questions about their motivations behind using the platform. For example, for what reason do you use TikTok? Questions about its effects on their well-being. For example, how do you think TikTok impacts your well-being? And interviews lasted between 15 and 40 minutes, were audio recorded and transcribed verbatim, with participants' own language used in transcriptions to reflect what they wanted to say. For the method of data analysis and semantic analysis, the researchers followed Brown and Clarke's 6-phase framework for semantic analysis. Coding was done semantically and deductively. And they mentioned ethics, the quality criteria. The study received ethical approval, and participants were provided with clear consent forms and informed of their right to withdraw at any time. Participant identities were anonymized, and all data was securely stored and later destroyed. Also, participants were provided with contact details for counseling services and emergency helplines, ensure their mental health was supported during the research process. And the finding was in 4 sections. They found that students created supportive communities on TikTok, sharing experience and provide emotional support. And there is a significant amount of mental health educational content on the platform, which helps students increase their self-awareness. Also, TikTok had both positive and negative effects, and students felt conflicted about their use of the platform. Some students showed signs of over reliance on TikTok, which affected their daily life and mental health. And for second research is Winston 2022. The topic is adolescent social media user types and their mental health and well-being. Results from a longitudinal survey of 13 to 14 years olds in the United Kingdom. While this study was intentionally non-platform specific, but participants were briefed to think about their use of all social media platforms, which included TikTok. And for context of study, is secondary schools across 4 local authorities in southwest England, UK. The time is October 2019 to October 2020. It is also a journal article. The participants are students from 19 schools, and in total 2,456 students. 59.1% of female, and mean age is 13.23 years old. The paradigm is positivism. It is a quantitative research. For method of data collection, they used online survey. Respondents reported frequency of use of social media for certain activities. Answers were given on a 4-point scale: never, really, fairly often, and very often. The frequency is related to the questions about sending messages to people, sharing photos or videos of yourself, and so on. And they also filled questions about self-harm. This was recorded for use as a binary variable to examine past year self-harm. The question is like, have you ever hurt yourself on purpose in any way, like something. And they also fill questions about anxiety and depression, and about poor well-being. That this mental well-being scale measures general subjective well-being over the past 2 weeks and consists of 14 positively worded items with 5-point response scale ranging from none of the time to all of the time. For the method of data analysis, they used inferential statistics, descriptive statistics, correlation analysis. For quality criteria, the informed consent was obtained, and for impacts, they mentioned that this is the first study to identify social media user types at the age in terms of proclivity for different online activities. And they also got funding acknowledgement. For findings, they had identification of 4 distinct social media user types: high communicators, moderate communicators, broadcasters, and minimum users. They found that the moderate communicators had the best mental health outcomes, suggesting that moderate engagement, particularly in direct communication, may be beneficial. And the broadcasters got the poor mental health outcomes 1 year later. For minimum users, they didn't consistently show better outcomes than moderate communicators, which means that some social media use may be more beneficial than none. Let's look at the third and the last research, Kelly's 2023. The topic is The Beauty and the Beast of Social Media, an interpretative phenomenological analysis of the impact of adolescent social media experiences on their mental health during the COVID-19 pandemic. The context of study is England COVID-19 pandemic is also a journal article. The participants are 11 adolescents aged from 14 to 16. They are 5 females and 6 males. The paradigm is interpretivism. It is a qualitative research which using interpretative phenomenological analysis (IPA). So the method of data collection, they used semi-structured interviews, video meetings on Microsoft Teams. Firstly, in keeping with IPA sampling requirements, a small propulsive homogeneous sample of adolescents aged from 14 to 16 were recruited using the following criteria. First one, aged 14 to 16. Second, actively engaging with social media. Third, living in the UK. 5, able to speak English. After that, video meetings were arranged with each participant individually using Microsoft Teams, and only the interviewer and participant were present. For the included questions, A, why adolescents use social media, B, why they do on social media, C, how they make sense of impact of social media on their mental health, D, how the COVID-19 pandemic impacted on their social media use and mental health, E, how they make sense of impact of social media during the pandemic. So this is audio recorded, and the lead author kept a reflective diary and notes from the interviews, aiding the analytic process. A total of 672 minutes of interview material was collected. Also, they mentioned that the most used social media platform among the adolescents were include TikTok. So, the method of data analysis, they use hermeneutic analysis, which is IPA, and qualitative coding. For quality criteria, they also got ethical approval, informed consent and withdrawal, keep anonymity and confidentiality. They mentioned that impacts have implications for how authorities, parents, and educators can support adolescents to enhance the potential benefits and minimize the possible harms of using social media. And the findings is related to the topic. So they got into the beauty and the beast. The beauty of social media. Social media helped adolescents stay connected with friends and family. Exposure to positive and motivational content improved mood. Online platforms provided emotional support and a sense of community. Some comparisons with others were motivating and encouraged self-improvement. But for based off social media, participants reported exposure to harmful and distressing content. Negative comparison lead to low self-esteem and dissatisfaction. Cyberbullying negatively affect the mental health, and excessive use led to distraction and feelings of addiction. At last, let's look at the compare and contrast. For Reston and Table 2024 and Callas 2023, the paradigm are all interpretivism, and they also all use semi-structured interview. For the Winston, it is a positivism and use online survey as the research design. And for data analysis, they all use different analysis methods. So how method constrain or open up opportunities for learning about educational problems? For Ransom and Talbot 2024, they uses qualitative interviews, explores how TikTok affect well-being, opens opportunities to understanding experiences and meanings. For Winston 2022, they uses large-scale quantitative survey, tests how much different user types relate to outcomes. Good for measuring patterns but limited in understanding why. For Catalyst 2023, they use this IPA deeply explores why and how social media impacts on mental health, rich insights but not generalizable. And for strengths and weakness, I think Ranston and Table 2024 may lack the depth of more interpretative approaches like grounded theory, content analysis, which can provide richer insight into individual psychological experiences. For Winston, I think the strategies are longitudinal design, large sample, a broad range of non-platform specific social media activities, and inclusion of a range of mental health outcomes. But the data were collected via self-report may tend to correlate poorly with objective measures. And for Catalyst 2023, I think the use of IPA study design enable us to access rich this device and in-depth information, and small sample size will reach personal data and where the voices of all participants were heard. Also, heterogeneous sample composition reflect different perspectives and experiences. But limitations are the interview bias and the qualitative analysis by its nature is subjective. So that's all. Thank you for listening.